I do not have this really in-depth behind the scenes video for you, but I did want to give a little bit of a brief overview of how I created this fake spec ad for Asics. This was done with no budget. I mean, I think I spent maybe like a couple $100 on a couple things. But anyways, sometimes, all the time, it's pretty hard to find people to help you with the project, especially if you don't have many film friends or you don't work like in the industry with other filmmakers and whatnot. So yeah, this was done all by myself, and then a couple of friends willing to help act. To me, these can just be really fulfilling, like in the meantime, in between projects or in between whatever you're trying to do. And yeah, I love creating these. Just like any other project, I use Milano, so let's hop in that bitch. So my workflow is pretty simple. I start with inspiration, then from that I create a script, and then I create a storyboard, and only if I need to, I'll create a detailed shot list that has like lighting scenarios and like little details, stuff like that. The inspiration for this spec ad came from a couple of different places, but I think the main one, the one that kind of sparked the entire idea, was this Nike SB ad. I don't even know if it's an ad. I think it's like a promo for somebody turning pro, but something about it just went so hard. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I really love that. And the use of house music. Yeah, just the lifestyle in combination with the house music. It seems like skateboarding and house music just go hand in hand, but it's rarely used. I feel like rap is the most common music used in skateboarding. It's kind of like the cliche. Now you would think traditionally it's rock, but it's not. And yeah, I don't know. I felt like this urge to use house music in a skateboarding video. Another really large inspiration for me was from this short film that I just recently saw called Differently Still. And I pretty much directly ripped off the intro completely. You can see it here. I completely just copied the shot. It's the guy rolling up, just exactly the same. I cut out some things. I did this pan a little bit differently, but for the most part, I give credit to that video because I ripped it off pretty hard. With all of that inspiration in mind, I wanted to create a lifestyle ad specifically, but I wanted to give it a little bit of a narrative feel and a little bit of structure. So you can see in this beautiful storyboard I crafted that the first scene is just a setup. It's setting up, you know, Jordan, the skater, prepping his mind mentally to try this trick that he wants to do. And from there, it delves into the montage sequence of kind of how he got there, the day skateboarding, just kind of the whole lifestyle aspect of the ad. And then it ends back where it started, where Jordan is landing the trick that he was trying. So yeah, the pre-production was pretty simple. I gave myself some leeway when it came to the montage. Like I semi-structured it, but I kind of wanted to give room to film whatever happens when you're out skating. I think that this made the ad more authentic in the end, and it also just made it easier to create as a whole. When it came down to production, there was just me, so I tried to keep things as simple as possible. The shoot mainly took 2 days, but I also went on a skate trip with the same people earlier in the month, so I was able to use some clips from that as well. By far, one of the hardest aspects of creating this was the use of mini DV cameras. For this, I used a combination of a borrowed TRV 900 and a Sony VX2100 with a Century Optics fisheye. And then I did end up using my XH2S for the intro scene. So the use of these mini DV cameras was to capture the skateboarding aesthetic from the 90s and early 2000s. More notably, the Sony VX1000, but there's marginal differences between all of these models. If you do not dial in the settings properly, if you don't have the exposure done right, the footage looks like shit. yeah, it's some doo-doo water if you don't film it properly. There is also a very specific way skateboarding needs to be filmed stylistically. So that's a combination of using, the VX with the fisheye, and then using the toggle zoom when you're shooting long lens. And that toggle zoom, doing that properly can be very difficult. The settings are different for both of the cameras, and it can be kind of sensitive and just hard to make look good. Yeah, on top of that, they're 25, 30-year-old cameras, so they could just be finicky at times. Other than that, it was a very simple and fun production. I really didn't have to do much. I kind of just took the homies to the spots and let them do their thing. The only part that I had to direct was the intro scene. And I guess that was a little bit difficult because, we're chasing the sun and, the friend has to get the trick, and it doesn't always work out kind of how you planned it. It could take a few tries, it could take a lot of tries. The other homie that was there helping, like to be a background actor, he goes to bed at like 8 o'clock because he wakes up early, and he was getting really tired and really hyper. So, it was super funny, but yeah, he was slowly kind of getting burnt out.
All day, baby. Come on, baby. Get that shit. Let's go, Jay. All day, Jay. Come on, baby. Come on.
Yeah, other than that, it was a really easy production. The post-production was normal. It wasn't like super hard or super easy or anything like that. I just kind of followed the storyboard. During the rough cut, I did think a couple things needed to be taken out. The kill your darlings mentality. I just felt like a couple things weren't needed. The only real tedious part, I wouldn't say difficult, was sifting through mini DV footage. I'm pretty sure mini DV footage is just notoriously hell to sort through, and that's because it's a tape, so it just records one long clip. So you're pretty much just sorting through a 60-minute clip to find your footage, which sucks. I honestly think I spent the most time trying to create this 3D retro rotating title. For somebody that is adept in motion graphics, I'm sure this is incredibly easy, but for me, I struggled. Oddly enough, I got the inspo from Spotify. I was just listening to a song, and on the song there's like a little GIF that's like part of the music video or whatever. On a song I was listening to, there was that 3D rotating retro title, and I just kind of got fixated on recreating it. So yeah, I spent way too long watching a bunch of YouTube tutorials trying to figure out how to do this. And then I spent another way too long trying to, figure it out with all of the DaVinci effects. Yeah, I did it, but it's definitely a detail people are gonna overlook. But you know what, fuck it, I'm proud of it. For color, I kept it pretty simple, as I normally do. I didn't want to go too crazy. So yeah, it's a contrasty, regular, balanced look that I used my basic node tree for, that I use for everything. I kind of evolve it over time, but it's pretty much stays the same. At the end, we have the film look creator. They just updated it, They just updated it so that it has some kind of like LUT presets. And the Rochester is Kodak 2383. And then I just do some fine-tune adjustments on that. So yeah, it's really not much. It's just the film look creator, a really balanced image, some skin correction, some grain, nothing too crazy. I know it doesn't look like it, but the sound design was also kept to a minimal. It's organized by orange, which is in-camera audio. The pink is music. The teal is ambiance, and the pink is the sound effects. Most of the audio is the in-camera audio that I might have adjusted slightly. The only effects I really used was the heartbeat in the beginning. And then if we go over to the title page, well, it's really quick. The SoundMind title page, there's a bunch of like TV static, stuff like that. And then the only other sound effects that are added are risers and whooshes. And the risers transition things. And then the whooshes emphasize things like the little flashes that go by. My computer's slow, so it's not really working. But yeah, you get the gist of it. Like I said earlier, I don't want to go too in-depth into everything. I feel like each part could kind of have its own tutorial. I just wanted to give a little bit of insight into what went into making this kind of video. So yeah, I hope you got a little bit out of it, and I'll see you next time.